What is this song, Owner of a Broken Heart? Is that what it's called? Owner of a Lonely Heart. Well, maybe Governor Schwarzenegger was lonely. And maybe the IMF dude from France in the hotel was lonely too. And maybe Elliot Spitzer certainly was lonely. And the list goes on. And so yesterday we saw tweets from former Governor Granholm and former First Gentleman Dan Mulhern, and they caused a ripple, and they made national news. So was there any, Dan, any second guessing when you saw on MSNBC and on the national news that maybe you shouldn't have done that?
A tiny bit, in the sense that, whenever you go out there, it's hard to control the message. And so, to the degree it causes embarrassment and pain to a family that's already in pain, that's a bad feeling. So yeah, there's some hesitance about that. And, there's always some vulnerability, Michael, when you get out there. And I think this circles back to the same issue. I know for me, when I get out there with an opinion and then people start, in my view, misinterpreting, I don't really, and getting very personal in the attacks, which some people do. The Newsweek piece I wrote, men especially were mindlessly attacking, attacking my manhood, my physiology. That one, it was so ridiculous that I laughed at it. But when people attack you for what feels like no reason, what's a man's instinct, right? It's back to the same question or observation you were raising. It's, fight or flight, and in my case, it's fight. And I think that part of that ancient equipment we have comes out in dysfunctional ways. One is to fight like that. And, you want to take on every single battle, but it's hard to have the discipline to stay on message. And, of course, that's the point I keep trying to make about this sex thing from a public official or a CEO standpoint is, somehow you got to deal with it, because it gets you so far off message. It gets your people so far off message. And, of course, it gets your family insanely far off message, so to speak. Because I don't believe for a minute that even Mark Sanford, I know Mark Sanford really cares about his wife, Jenny Sanford. I know Elliot cared about Silda, and certainly about their 3 daughters. Elliot Spitzer did. And yet, when you do that behavior, you put them at so much risk. So, the point is, I'm trying to get men to think about this. And of course, everyday men, which I consider myself, experience the same thing. And if there's enough out there to titillate you. There's people popping up on your screen saying, no matter what site you're on, saying they're in your area. They've got your computer honed down. Meet pretty girls in Holt, that shows up on my screen all the time. So
they have pretty girls in Holt?
This out, because the temptations and the pressure aren't going to go away.
That's the thing. It's the temptation. And even Tiger Woods, when he gave his apology speech there, sort of alluded to the fact that he felt entitled to it, felt he worked hard and, provided for his family. And so what the heck? If he had a little on the side, he had it coming to him. And then when you talked about President Clinton should have known better, should have taken responsibility instead of blaming the young girl. She, from what I understand about those encounters in the Oval Office, she flashed him and she flirted with him and she enjoyed the attention. And I think what you might be saying is that he should have known, wait a minute, I'm President of the United States. Of course she's going to be excited by me. I better show a little judgment here. Is that how it should come out?
Yeah, Michael, I've got 2 daughters who are 21 and 20. Clinton's daughter wasn't quite that old. Chelsea was, 18 at the time or something. But, I think we have to listen to the voice that says, you're an old man here. It's okay. But, it's time to move on. This is like your daughter. How would you feel if the CEO, she's doing an internship at the CEO with IBM, and the CEO of IBM comes on to my daughter? I think we have to reconnect to that sense that we have some responsibility as men for the stewardship of the world. Women do as well. I'm not dissing them. But we've had a long tradition of believing that we are responsible for how things are around here. We were responsible for keeping the house safe and secure. We were responsible for upholding things like honesty. But these guys, for some reason, are saying, I need a minute to quit and to abdicate from what I'm doing all day and walk away from how things are around here. And I'm going to go, have a sexual encounter with a teasing girl who's the same age as my daughter. Wait, stop. That's not right, So we need to restore a more important part of who we are in a moral universe. I'm not talking about a puritanical universe, but a moral universe where we say, no, we're responsible for things. We're the man around here, so we're not going to go have sex outside our marriage with a girl who's the age of our daughters. I mean, that's kind of sickening.
So the message, another guy gov admits to cheating on his wife. Maybe we need more women governors. That was tweeted by former Governor Granholm. Guys, keep your pants zipped for Pete's sake. and you came at it and said, can we talk maturely, openly, and seriously about sex and fidelity, which I hope we just did on this program. It's early. Lots of young ears are listening indeed. But the saddest part of all in the last minute that we have is seeing the tweets from Arnold's children. Talking about how some days, it's really tough, but they love their family, and that is hard to read.
That's heartbreaking. I mean, as a dad, Michael, think about how does he reestablish some sense of relationship with his kids? How does Mark Sanford, how do his 4 boys feel? And I'm not saying that to judge them, as you're not. I'm saying, we need to see the whole picture and do what's best in us, as I write, lead with your best self. I mean, that's painful to read, and your heart goes out to those families, and any family where that happens. I mean, so what's the point? Go see a marriage counselor. Talk to your wife about what's happening. Go online and read a book. Don't go to a porn site, but read about, how to deal with whatever you want to call it.
Read Dan Mulhern at danmulhern.com.